3 a.m. Louise Hay wakes up with a revelation that would change millions of lives, but what she discovered that morning was never taught in her books, never revealed in her lectures, and for decades, it remained the best-kept secret in self-help. Have you tried positive affirmation, visualization, meditation, and nothing lasted? I know how you feel. That feeling that maybe you are the problem. Maybe you lack willpower. Maybe you don't deserve a better life. But what if I told you that you didn't fail? What if I told you that you simply didn't know the right timing? Louise Hay discovered something that neuroscientists only confirmed 40 years later. Something about your brain in the minutes before sleep. Something about how the words you plant at that precise moment germinate in a completely different way. I'm going to tell you a story that has never been told publicly. In 1976, Louise was hospitalized, battling cancer that doctors considered terminal. It was her third week there. Every night, when the lights went out and the hospital fell silent, she repeated her affirmations, but it wasn't working. Fear consumed her until a night nurse changed everything. "Mrs. Hay," she said, "you're doing it wrong. Your brain is different now. In the next 15 minutes, before you fall completely asleep, it will enter a state that doesn't happen at any other time of day." That nurse had studied early neuroplasticity experiments in France. She knew something the world didn't yet know. Between wakefulness and sleep, there's a window. Scientists call it the hypnagogic state. Your brain slows down beta waves, theta waves increase. Your psychological defenses crumble, and something extraordinary happens. Everything you say to yourself at this moment doesn't go through the filter of skepticism. Louise started using this window 5 minutes, just 5 minutes before falling completely asleep. And in 6 weeks, something impossible happened. But let me explain why this works when everything else has failed. Do you know why your daytime affirmations don't stick? Because your conscious brain rejects them. You say, "I am prosperous," and an inner voice replies, "No, you're not. Look at your bank account." But in the 5 minutes before sleep, that critical voice switches off. It's like planting seeds in a garden. During the day, the soil is hard, dry, the seeds bounce on the surface. But at night, the soil softens, the seeds penetrate deep, and germinate in the dark. Your nighttime subconscious doesn't question. It simply absorbs. I'll give you a concrete example. My friend Sarah tried affirmations for 3 years. Nothing. She felt ridiculous repeating "I deserve love" while brushing her teeth in the morning, because a part of her didn't believe. So I taught her Louise's technique, 5 minutes before sleep, in the dark, in a specific position, with specific words, following a protocol that Louise developed but never published. In 2 weeks, Sarah called me, crying. Something happened. I wake up different, as if someone had changed my thoughts overnight. And they had changed. Because when you speak to your subconscious at the right moment, it doesn't just listen, it rewrites. But there's a problem. Most people do it wrong. They use the wrong words, at the wrong time, in the wrong position, and then wonder why it doesn't work. Louise discovered that there's a sequence, a specific order that dialogues with the different centers of your brain. First, you need to disarm the alarm system. Then, plant the new programming. Finally, seal the intention. It's like hacking your own mind. And here's the part that will shock you. Modern neuroscientists discovered that Louise was right. There's a window of approximately 7 minutes before sleep where your subconscious mind becomes up to 10 times more receptive. They call it the memory consolidation period. It's when your brain decides what to keep and what to discard from the day. If you know how to use those 7 minutes, you can rewrite decades of limiting programming. But here's what nobody tells you. It's not just about the words, it's about how you deliver them. Louise discovered that the subconscious responds better to certain intonations, certain breaths, certain body positions. It's a complete protocol. And why didn't she ever teach this directly? Because it's too powerful. She knew that in the wrong hands, it could be dangerous. So she scattered the pieces in different books, in different lectures, like clues in a treasure hunt. But some people put the pieces together. I'm one of them. And now you will be too. First, let me tell you what happened to Louise in that hospital, because this will give you the confidence to try. She started with 5 minutes every night, same time, same ritual, same words, but they weren't common affirmations. It was something much more specific. In the second week, she stopped waking up with anxiety. In the fourth week, doctors noticed changes in the tests. In the eighth week, they asked to repeat the tests. Something was wrong. The tumor was shrinking inexplicably. "It's impossible," said the oncologist. "Tumors don't regress like this without aggressive treatment." But Louise knew what was happening. She had found the right moment to speak to the part of herself that controls everything, including healing. And you can find that moment too. But let me warn you about something. This isn't a placebo, this isn't positive thinking. This is applied neurobiology. When you speak to your subconscious in the hypnagogic state, physical changes happen, new neural pathways form, old connections weaken, your brain chemistry changes. That's why it works when other techniques fail. Your daytime brain is a guardian. It protects you from change, but your nighttime brain is a gardener. It cultivates what you plant. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to teach you exactly how to plant. But first, I need to tell you about the 3 mistakes that prevent 99% of people from getting results. Because if you make these mistakes, the protocol won't work. Mistake number 1. They do it too early. You can't be fully awake, but you also can't be asleep. There's a sweet spot, a specific moment where your consciousness is in the right place. Mistake number 2. They use too many words. The nighttime subconscious doesn't process information like the daytime brain. It responds to essences, to symbols, to simple truths. Mistake number 3. They expect results in the first week, but profound changes happen in layers, like seeds germinating in the dark. You don't see anything happening until suddenly, everything sprouts. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that your dreams sometimes feel more real than your waking life? That sometimes you wake up with feelings you can't explain. This happens because during sleep, your subconscious mind is free. It can create any reality. It can heal any trauma. It can solve any problem. What Louise Hay discovered was how to give specific instructions to this process. It's like programming a quantum computer that works while you rest. And here's something fascinating. People who use this protocol report the same pattern. In the first week, nothing seems to happen. In the second week, they start waking up feeling different. In the third week, other people notice changes in them. Why? Because you're literally rewriting your identity at the deepest level. Let me give you another example. Marcus had panic attacks for 15 years. He took medication. He went to therapy. Nothing completely eliminated the attacks. Then he discovered Louise Hay's protocol. 5 minutes every night, same time, same words, same breathing technique. In 3 weeks, he had his first anxiety-free day in 15 years. In 2 months, he stopped his medication under medical supervision. "It's like someone reconfigured my nervous system," he told me. And he had been reconfigured. Because when you speak to your subconscious mind at the right time, with the right words, permanent changes happen. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't magic. It's brain mechanics. Your brain has a property called neuroplasticity. It can reorganize itself at any point in life, but this reorganization happens primarily during sleep. Louise Hay intuited this 40 years before scientists proved it, and she created a method to direct this process. Now let me explain why 5 minutes is the ideal time. No more, no less, much less. And you can't implant the complete programming, much more. And you go from the hypnagogic state into deep sleep. 5 minutes is the perfect window. And during those 5 minutes, you'll do 3 specific things. 3 steps that Louise Hay developed after decades of experimentation. First, you'll disarm your alert system. Second, you'll implant the new programming. Third, you'll seal the intention. It's simple, but it has to be done in the correct order, because your subconscious mind isn't just receptive at night. It's also extremely literal. It interprets everything literally. So every word matters, every pause matters, every breath matters. That's why Louise Hay spent years refining the language, finding the exact words that speak to the deepest part of you. And these words aren't what you might imagine. They're not traditional positive affirmations. They're not motivational phrases. They are direct commands to your nervous system. Let me explain how it works. When you're in the hypnagogic state, your brain doesn't distinguish between reality and imagination. Everything you tell yourself at this moment is interpreted as absolute truth. That's why Louise Hay developed what she called command language. Specific phrases that speak directly to the control centers of your brain. But before I teach you the exact protocol, I need to tell you something that will change your perspective on everything. Louise Hay didn't discover this alone. She had a mentor, a French neuroscientist named Dr. Pierre Arnaud, who was studying the effects of medical hypnosis on terminally ill patients. He had discovered that there were keywords that activated the brain's healing capacity, but Dr. Arnaud died in an accident before publishing his research. Louise Hay was one of the few people who had access to his manuscripts, and she transformed his science into a practical technique. Now, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. First, the timing. You need to start when you feel the first sign of sleepiness, not when you're heavily sleepy. When you feel that first wave of tiredness coming, it's at this moment that your brain begins to lower its defenses. Second, the position. Lie on your back, arms loose at your sides. This position activates the vagus nerve and puts your nervous system in receptive mode. Third, the breathing. 4 slow, deep breaths. This signals to your brain that you are safe and can let your guard down. Now comes the crucial part. The words. Louise Hay discovered that the subconscious responds best to commands in the first person, present tense, with body language. Not, I will be happy, but my body relaxes, my mind calms, my heart opens. Do you feel the difference? The first is a future promise. The second is a direct instruction for what's happening now. And here's the secret that changed everything for Louise Hay. You don't just talk to your mind, you talk to every system in your body. Let me give you the exact protocol she used. Minute 1, deactivation command. My nervous system calms, my muscles relax, my breath deepens. Minute 2, cleansing command. All tension leaves my body, all fear leaves my mind, all blockage dissolves. Minutes 3 and 4, programming command. Here you implant the specific change you want, but using Louise Hay's body language. Minute 5, sealing command. This programming activates during my sleep. It integrates completely into my being. I wake up renewed. Simple, right? But there are crucial details that make all the difference. For example, Louise Hay discovered that you need to pause for 3 seconds between each command. This gives the brain time to process and accept the information. She also discovered that it works better if you visualize each command happening in your body, not just thinking the words, but feeling them happening. It's as if you were the director of the movie of your own transformation. And here's something fascinating. People who use this protocol start to dream differently. More vivid dreams, more organized, as if the subconscious mind were actively working on the problems. Because it is. During REM sleep, your brain reorganizes memories, consolidates learning, and creates new connections. When you give specific instructions before sleep, you direct this process. It's like having a renovation crew working on your mind while you rest. But let me warn you about something important. The first few days might be strange. You may wake up with different sensations, intense dreams, even a slight disorientation in the morning. That's normal. It's a sign it's working. Your brain is reorganizing itself. Old patterns are being broken. New pathways are being created. Louise Hay always said, real change is never comfortable at first because you're killing off one version of yourself to give birth to another. And she was right. Let me tell you what happened to me when I discovered this technique. I was in a terrible phase of life, bad relationships, a job I hated. My mental health was shot. I tried therapy, coaching, even hypnosis. Nothing stuck. Then a friend told me about Louise's protocol. 5 minutes, she said, just 5 minutes every night, but you have to follow it exactly as she taught. I was skeptical, but I was desperate. On the first night, I felt ridiculous talking to myself in the dark. On the second night, I almost gave up, but something made me keep going. On the 5th night, it happened. I woke up with a mental clarity I hadn't felt in years, like someone had cleaned the windows of my mind. In 2 weeks, I made decisions I'd been putting off for months. In a month, my life was completely different. And look, I'm not easily impressed. I'm a journalist. I question everything. But this works in a way that's impossible to ignore. Because when you talk to your subconscious mind at the right time, real changes happen. Now, let me give you some specific examples of commands you can use. For anxiety, My nervous system stabilizes, my mind finds peace, my body releases all tension. For self-esteem, my worth is recognized, my confidence strengthens, my personal power activates. For prosperity, my mind opens to opportunities, my energy attracts abundance, my worth manifests. For relationships, my heart heals, my capacity to love expands, I attract genuine connections. Do you see the pattern? Always in the present tense, always physical, always specific. But here's what a lot of people don't understand. You can't mix goals. Choose one area at a time. Use the same commands for at least 21 days. Only then, move to another area. Because your subconscious mind needs consistency to create permanent changes. And here's something Louise discovered but never openly discussed. There's an ideal time for each type of change. For physical healing, between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., when your body starts producing growth hormone. For emotional changes, between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m., when the prefrontal cortex decreases activity. For deep identity transformations, between 11 p.m. and midnight, when you enter the deepest sleep cycles. Louise knew this instinctively. Science confirmed it decades later, and now you know it too. But let me give you the most important advice of all. Don't tell anyone you're doing this, at least not in the beginning, because other people will project their skepticism onto you. And in the beginning, when the technique is still establishing itself, this can interfere. Keep it to yourself. Let the results speak for themselves, and they will speak. Because when you plant the right seeds in the nighttime garden of your mind, extraordinary transformations blossom in your life. Now, before I let you go and experiment, let me tell you how Louise's story ended. Remember that early morning in the hospital? That 3 a.m. revelation? It wasn't about a technique. It was about a much deeper truth. Louise realized that the same force that created her problems could create her solutions, and that this force activated when she talked to herself at the right time. "I am my own healer," she wrote that day, "and everyone is their own healer. We just need to learn the language our soul understands. That language is what I've just taught you. Use this language tonight, and every night for the next 21 days, because in 3 weeks you'll look back and realize that your life started changing the night you decided to talk to the deepest part of yourself. And you'll understand why Louise kept this secret for so long. Because when you know how to reprogram your mind at the right time, you don't just change your life. You discover you always had the power to be who you wanted to be. You were just talking to the wrong person at the wrong time. Now you know how to talk to the right person at the right time. Do this tonight. Your tomorrow self will thank you.